Hi guys, Chase Willard here. I'm the founder and CEO of the Speedy Recruiter. I built the Speedy Recruiter, whichever if you aren't part of my network or you didn't find me yet, definitely go take a look at thespeedyrecruiter.com. I built the Speedy Recruiter as a resource for startups to have access to affordable US-based recruiters in an age when the only opportunity to have a recruiting platform is either contingency recruiting or really cheap offshore recruiting. I kind of meet in the middle and provide an amazing resource. What makes the Speedy Recruiter a lot different and extremely successful when compared to other individual recruiters or anybody that can be hired by a startup is the proprietary and unique process that we use to develop every single candidate. I'm a big proponent of sales environment in recruiting. I think that recruiting is sales. It's basically the ultimate sale role. It's a double sell. You have to sell your clients on a roll. You have to sell your candidates on a roll. You have to sell your candidates back to your clients. And you have to do that repeatedly, different times throughout the process. And that being said, I think the problem with recruiting is nobody approaches it with a sales mindset. And that's what you have to kind of start and do first. So that being said, these are the 5 steps to discovering top talent. This is what I use to help every one of my clients on the mini searches I work each and every week with my team. If you have any questions after, you're more than welcome to email me, but I really hope this is beneficial to you, and I'm glad I could share the knowledge. Step number 1, talent prospecting. As I already kind of mentioned, you need to approach each candidate discovery with a sales mindset. Think of how startups these days work. They have sales development reps. Why? That's because they have to nurture their leads all the way through the process because the leads are smarter. Sales targets are smarter these days. It's a longer sale. The same can be said for candidates. Candidates are smarter. They've been recruited. They've been marketed to. You have to nurture them all the way through. You have to make sure there's a really fine and detailed process. And kind of what that includes, this is the research portion of that. You have to think of how would you research a lead for a sale? Well, you would create an ideal target or profile. And what that does is the same way you look for your target for a sales profile is the same for a candidate. All of the intangibles, all of the prospects, you put it together and you draft a very nifty scorecard. This is an example of one that I put together for one of my clients. I put one of these together for everyone we work with, but this is what I suggest your team look at doing. Basically what we have here is we have your job description in here that you can hand to your researcher, everything here, and then I take all of the most pressing background and needs and everything we need them to hit before we even reach out to them, and they need to be within a certain score through here. And as you can see, you have your totals over here, and then what's good is once you get ready to pass them along to the interview stage, you have your notes, your salary, all of your information that you need. So basically what you get is you get a total scope of what you're looking for. Once you have your scorecard created, the next best thing is to cast the largest net possible. You do that because you want to make sure that there's no candidate left undiscovered. And obviously every role is different. If it's technical, you're going to want to reach out to some things like Dice. You might want to get on GitHub, those kind of things. But your whole point is once you have your scorecard and your candidate profile identified, find every avenue possible. Don't just post job ads. Don't just get on LinkedIn. Everybody uses this passive versus aggressive candidate versus active candidate, and that's just not the way to go. You have to cast a net because you never know which channel. Within sales, they tell you to develop as many profitable channels as possible. Well, that's the same with recruiting. All your recruiting channels need to be as profitable as possible. The difference is your profit is finding the best candidates who are going to bring you the longest and best return on your investment. If that means LinkedIn, what I use is LinkedIn, all of your job boards that you're going to possibly get, job ads, go to your data aggregation software. Are you putting in together, sorting through and using big data to make candidates work for you? Aggregate the data, go off your competitors, find people that are working for like-minded organizations that you believe in and target them. The nets and the verticals can go as many ways as you want, And the biggest thing is the more the better, because that's how many you're going to reach out to. And finally, with talent prospecting, the best thing is once you've identified candidates and downloaded the resumes and you've got your target, say you have 100 candidates for a position you're looking to target, go back through and refine it again. Because once you get that second eye on the resume, you're going to be like, well, they're not as good as I thought. Let's go ahead and DQ them. And what you've done is you've already narrowed your pipeline, narrowed your targets, and already have yourself set up for a better level of clientele or candidate. Step 2 is to have targeted opportunity development. Think about when you work for a startup, you have a sales development rep. As I mentioned that earlier, you need to have the same thing for your recruiting team. Have them segmented, specialize their skill set. Have you an opportunity development rep, hire, train them, and basically make their whole job to work on your prospect list and to identify interested candidates. And if there is a fit, you can have them trained on culture. You can have them, working together and finding out what, is the best part to grow this company. It's an extremely rewarding role. You can start them out the same way as sales development reps. And not only that, you can even put in some really good measures and baselines based on candidate retention, hire rates, etc. You do the same thing as you would in a sales funnel. You qualify source leads, nurture, move them forward in the funnel. It's their job to take the leads from the research team, and from that point, they should be making phone calls, connecting on LinkedIn, emailing, social network outreach via Twitter, Facebook, any network you can possibly find. AngelList, we're looking to get in touch, make a connection, become trusted advisors to them, and also get them interested in the company, and eventually be able to recruit the top talent. And what makes that good is once you've built a large active candidate database that you can reach out to, even if you're not exactly hiring at the moment, you have a great internal database that you can reactivate. And instead of one of your more seasoned recruiters going after that, you can have your targeted opportunity development reps, reaching out to your database, reaching out to candidates who may have been interested in the past, so you're warming up conversations and passing them through the same way you would a sales funnel to an inside sales system. Step number 3 is refine and assess. And what's that important is once a candidate has been passed along, they've already been spoken to and qualified twice. They've been qualified twice by your researcher. They've been qualified once by your opportunity development rep. And the 4th time you're going to qualify is going back through and making sure that, before you have another call with them, they're clean all around. You've checked their GitHub if they're a coder. You've checked their resume, their social media activity, portfolio, as I said, code repository. Anything that you can find on them, do it before you have another conversation with them. Don't waste your resources and don't waste their time. And then the top grading screen. Have you a second phone call? This is your second phone interview. What would be considered a first interview, phone interview these days? Have that great top grading screen. Use your scorecard. Grade them on across the board to ensure that your culture fit and your core values are being met and that you're only coming away with the top performers. Do every single one of these before you even entertain, going through your hiring manager meetings and sharing them with your team and building and having them in for a second interview. Let's whittle them down. And by the end of this step, they've been literally screened 4, maybe 5 times by employees, and they've been touched and they've been educated on the company. So there's so much more of a relationship building. Part of the reason the Speedy Recruiter process is so special is, and it works for other startups, is, the whole point is to have an effective, data-driven, and expedited research or sourcing process and candidate delivery. So once you have a candidate in the pipeline, you're going to want to present your hiring manager with a full 360 degree of what they're looking for. Have that scorecard attached. Have all of the pertinent information. All their links to the social media. Basically have everything that you've compiled put into one presentation and tell that hiring manager, this is why we need to bring this candidate on. Or have have your hiring manager or your recruiting team tell you, this is what we're doing. This is why we're bringing them on. Make your team define why you should look at this candidate. That's what you want to see. You want to see a robust picture before you decide is there value in this candidate. I want to see the notes on every interview. And that's where the search is important, and why, you're able to kind of generate the best candidates, because you're delivering multiple screened candidates and giving them another chance to even be scrutinized further. I know that sounds awful for the candidate, but for the hiring company, it's amazing. You build your business with so much scrutiny and so much whittling down that you only have the best possible candidates. The fifth most important step, honestly, besides research, is relationship management. This is the same as if you were nurturing a lead for a sale. You want to keep all of your candidates in the loop with 100% honesty as the state of the search. If you have interested candidates that you haven't DQ'd or maybe a fit later on, you have to keep them engaged. You can do that by saying, we aren't in a situation to where we're ready to make a decision yet, but you're definitely high on our radar, and give them a number. Once we have 5 people, we're going to whittle it down to 2 more to come in for another process. Be specific and be honest with them. Let them know the metrics that they're at and where they are in the process. That's important. If your recruiter is trying to nurture it, they should be connected with this person on LinkedIn. They should like a few of their posts if that person's posting regularly. Show them that you're invested in them, because even if by the time they're this far along in the process, they might not be a fit for a role now. But you're a growing company. Once you get there, they're going to be a fit for a role eventually, probably. And you want them to have a good review of your company. And even if not, what if they're a referral, or one of their friends tells them, hey, yeah, I interviewed there once. I didn't make it, but they were really cool. So that's a great job. So something to keep in mind. Also, nurture the hot candidate relationships. Say you want another week or 2 of sourcing to make sure that they're not the best, but they're the best you have already. Get them through the process and be honest with them once they're all the way through the process. Say, we're reviewing 2 more people. The next step will be they'll either work or we're going to bring you on, and that's going to be the end of it. And another opportunity to do that, to negotiate, is to provide your top 2 or 3 candidates per role with an opportunity to ask you questions. Just give them 15 minutes. Let them ask your recruiting team about your team. Let them ask them questions. And that's another thing about building goodwill for the future. Recruit with a ethical and really open process, and it's going to be spread among your peers. And like I said, by doing all that, you'll be able to hire the best and stay engaged with the rest. That means not only you're not just making people angry when they don't get the job. They're not getting the job, but they're still like, you know what, that was a great experience. I'll be back to apply. The next step is put it all to work. Design your strategy. Define your core culture and core values. Find out what's important to you and make sure they fit. Build your own internal team. Or, if you can't afford to have 3 separate people, a recruiter, an opportunity development, and a researcher, if you can't afford to do that or it's not an investment you want to make, go with a trusted and proven brand like that I created, the Speedy Recruiter. Why go with an alternative like the Speedy Recruiter? Of course, this is kind of that end of the call. Finish the stuff I want to tell you about me. Hopefully you'll see the perks of what I've built as well. Your return on investment is amazing. You can fill a position for as low as $499. That's with a top candidate. Lower prices mean a much faster return on recruiting dollars invested. I've literally built this with my bare hands from the ground up, and I've built an amazing team with amazing customers, and I literally am so invested in providing an amazing, amazing experience that I give my word to everybody that comes aboard. I'm single-handedly a part of this throughout the way. And not on top of that, you have all the perks of having your own in-house team and none of the stress. So have your full team. You get maximum vacancy visibility, jobs postings, everything, and ethical strategies that produce results. Once again, guys, thank you so much. Take a look at the website. Reach out to me if you want to chat. I'm always open to go over ideas. Brainstorm. All my information is right here. Implement a really amazing process, and I promise you will